Okay, welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take source material that you send us and really dig in.
Yeah, we pull out the key insights. The idea is you get informed fast without needing to wade through all the details yourself.
Exactly. Think of us as guides, just helping you zero in on what really matters in the info you've shared.
And today we're looking at some recent updates to the transportation code. This is all based specifically on the material you provided.
Right. And our mission here, it's pretty simple. Cut through the potential legal jargon.
Mhm.
We want to explain the specific changes clearly. Almost like, well, explaining it to someone completely new to this so you can quickly get a handle on what's shifted.
Yeah, make it accessible.
So your source touches on a few different things. Looks like something about license plates, maybe temp tags,
That's right.
and an update to a driving law, one most people probably know,
A familiar one.
and then something new specifically about electric vehicles. So let's break these down.
Okay, sounds good. Where should we start?
Let's start with the license plates. The source highlighted something pretty significant about temporary ones, right? Fraudulent tags.
Yes, exactly. The source points out a change that really elevates how fraudulent temp tags are treated legally.
Elevates how?
Well, what's really interesting, or maybe concerning, depending on your view, is the classification of the offense. Using a fake temp tag, according to the source, is now treated like tampering with a government document.
Wow, okay, tampering with a government document. That definitely sounds like a jump up in seriousness.
It is.
What does the source say about the reasoning? Why that specific charge?
Well, if you connect the dots based on the source material, it looks like the state is saying, look, even these temporary paper tags, they look official.
Right.
Misusing them undermines the whole system. So treating it like tampering with any other government record, it basically means much stiffer penalties are on the table now.
So it's a stronger deterrent.
That seems to be the goal, yeah. To discourage this kind of fraud more effectively than perhaps previous penalties did.
Okay, so key takeaway here, based on your source. Fraudulent temp tags aren't just a minor registration issue anymore.
Nope.
They're being handled with the gravity of messing with official government records. That means potentially higher penalties. Got it.
Precisely.
All right, switching gears then. What about that driving law update you mentioned?
Yes. The source also flagged an update to the move over or slow down law. You know the one.
Oh yeah, when you see flashing lights on the shoulder, police, ambulance, tow trucks.
Exactly. You have to move over a lane if you can safely or slow down significantly.
Crucial safety rule.
Ah.
So what's the specific change the source pointed out?
The update is about increasing penalties, but specifically for repeat violations.
So not just across the board, but it hits harder if you've been caught doing it before.
That's what the source indicates. It
Yeah.
signals a real focus, legislatively speaking, on deterring those who habitually ignore the law.
Makes sense.
The emphasis seems squarely on protecting folks working on the roadside, first responders, tow truck drivers. They're really vulnerable out there.
Underscores the safety aspect. Okay, so clear update number 2. Ignore the move over law again, and the penalty will likely be steeper. Your source makes that clear.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the third thing was about electric vehicles, something about fees.
Yes, this relates to Senate Bill 505, which your source references. It introduces a completely new fee structure just for EVs.
A new registration fee only for electric vehicles. Okay, what are the details? What did the source say?
So effective September 1st, 2023, there's a new fee. When you first register a new electric vehicle, it's $400.
$400 right off the bat for
Yeah.
registration.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's noticeable.
It is. And then for your annual registration renewal after that, it's $200 each year.
Okay, 400 initial, 200 annual, and the source mentioned where that money goes.
It did, very specifically. It's directed to the State Highway Fund.
The highway fund, okay. And did the source explain the why behind this EV-specific fee?
Absolutely. It explicitly states the fee is meant to help offset the loss of gas tax revenue.
The funding mechanism issue.
Exactly. Since EVs don't use gasoline, they don't pay gas taxes at the pump, which is, traditionally how roads are funded.
So this is presented as a way for EV owners to contribute to maintaining the roads they use.
That's the rationale provided in the source, yes, ensuring they contribute to infrastructure upkeep.
Okay, let's do a quick recap then, based purely on your source material. First, fraudulent temporary tags are now treated much more seriously, like tampering with government documents, meaning higher penalties.
Right, a crackdown on that specific fraud.
Second, penalties are increasing for repeat offenders of the move over or slow down law, aiming to boost safety for roadside workers.
Yep, targeting habitual non-compliance.
And third, starting September 1st, 2023, Electric vehicles have a new $400 initial registration fee, then $200 annually after that,
With that money going straight to the state highway fund?
to make up for the gas taxes they don't pay.
Correct.
And the source kind of sums this up by saying these changes are part of bigger efforts, right? Enhancing road safety, adapting to new vehicle tech.
Exactly. Adapting to how transportation and its funding are changing.
So for you listening, these specific legal tweaks from the source, they might seem small, technical even, just changes to the transportation code.
But if you take a step back for a second, how do these maybe seemingly minor adjustments actually reflect some really big shifts happening?
That's the interesting part, from how we view the integrity of official documents in an increasingly digital world, fighting new kinds of fraud.
To the huge challenge of how we pay for our roads and bridges when the vehicles using them are fundamentally changing. Fewer gas cars, more EVs. Where does the money come from?
It really leaves you thinking, doesn't it? How do these specific legal updates, the ones we just broke down from your source, kind of act as little windows?
Windows into that larger ongoing story of how laws try to keep up with technology, with how people behave, with the realities on our roads. Something to mull over.